What should we make of all these Jon Lester rumors, either the ones about him going to Los Angeles or just the broader ones that he might be dealt, with the understanding that the Red Sox would re-sign him as a free agent?
Well, I think that it's very clear that Lester wants badly to remain in Boston. It's also fairly clear that that's not going to happen. That there isn't going to be grounds for an agreement in the immediate future in season. So those two things being the case, particularly now that Lester has added in the dimension of, if they trade me, my goal would still be to re-sign with the Red Sox. It doesn't make a lot of sense for them not to at least listen very carefully and tell a team, look, if you want to give us a really kind of, if you want to give us a significant prospect, someone who has a chance to really impact this team in the very near future, then we would certainly listen. And, maybe that's a multitude of prospects, kind of like the 4-for-1 deal that the Rangers made for Matt Garza last year. Maybe it's just a single prospect, like the Mets dealing for Zach Wheeler when they traded away Carlos Beltran a few years ago. But the Red Sox would be insane not to see if they can't leverage this terrible season into something that can help them going forward.
Yeah, Alex, we know the Red Sox are in last place, and we all know they're capable of making a run. Come Thursday, are they buyers or sellers?
They are clearly in the seller's mode. Ben Cherington already, after the team traded Jake Peavy, said it not directly related to Peavy, but said, based on the way the team has played, we have to be very realistic about what the math is. And our goal, anything that I do right now between now and the Thursday trade deadline, has to be with an eye towards being as good as possible in April 2015. So not a lot of ambiguity there.
Alex Speier of WEEI in Boston joins us on Baseball Central. Just reading your item on the WEEI website right now. It's interesting, isn't it, how every season there seems to be a weekend or a run of 3 or 4 games that kind of a microcosm of the season. This may have been it for the Red Sox against Tampa. You detail a lot of things that happen. It certainly does point to a team that is in a selling mode, doesn't it? Plus, you've got the Mike Karp, as you say, the despondency about the week-long spans between playing opportunities. Johnny Gomes acknowledging that he could be in the trade block. Xander Bogaerts getting the day off yesterday. There's a lot going on with this team right now, isn't it? That really suggests that something is imminent.
There really is. And look, it started when they were up in Toronto, right? They had the big win, 14-1. That had been 8 of 9 wins. And so there was starting to be this glimmer of, maybe we do have something left in us to make a run. The front office was very much open to that. And then the Blue Jays kind of flushed the Red Sox with 3 straight victories. The Red Sox players, I don't think it had set in the clubhouse, though, even by the time they had gotten to Tampa Bay. But once they lost that game on Friday night with Jon Lester on the mound pitching really well, they got runs against David Price, which, I mean, that represents kind of an aberration for them. And they still ended up losing because the bullpen blew it. Then it was a reality dawning moment in which you started to have this change of, Jon Lester talking very candidly about the idea that, no, I would not be surprised to be traded at this point, but I would want to return to the Red Sox even if I was. And you had players kind of focused on their individual circumstance more than they were on what the team's situation was. And it just became, and they had that first trade. And even though the PV trade had been expected for a while, it still represented kind of a separation, a dividing line between, with one of the core guys of the clubhouse at the end of last year. I mean, even though PV was acquired in the middle of the year and at the trade deadline, he still became like a core character in the clubhouse, and he was gone. And so it kind of forced a lot of the members of the team to recognize that, this thing that they had in 2013 was not what they had anymore.
How does Matt Kemp fit into all this?
I don't think he does necessarily. Not unless it's with the Dodgers basically picking up. Maybe if the Dodgers picked up like $80 million, that would make sense. But beyond that, it's really hard for me to make sense of that one. if you talk to evaluators around the game, I had talked to someone yesterday, for instance, who said if he was a free agent right now, he would maybe give him 2 years, $20 million. Buster Olney saw even, encountered evaluators who were shooting even lower. I think that he had them around 215 to an $18 million. Matt Kemp right now represents a huge, colossal risk, which is exactly what the Red Sox have been trying to avoid with Jon Lester, who's a far more reliable guy. And so to me, unless it's almost a giveaway situation by the Dodgers, and maybe they end up getting to that point because they have their own clubhouse issues with too many guys with long track records who are being squeezed into too small of roles, then maybe they do get to that point of a giveaway. But to me, the Red Sox need to be focused. If they're going to sell on Jon Lester, then they need to get a guy for all of his prime, all of his best years, rather than a guy whose best years are behind him.